everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. For today's card I'm going to show you how to create this look using colouring pencils on coloured card. So to create the card, and this is the one that I'm going to do, I'm using black card. So I've created my base, I've cut myself a little panel that will sit down the side, and this is an extra piece that I'm going to stamp on and emboss on. So I'm using the Peony Scrolls from Untitled, and this is the stamp set with a matching die set to it. Buy separately, but I'm not using the dies, I'm just going to use the stamps. I'm also going to use a little sentiment from the Sentiments and Quotes, also by Untitled, and I'm going to use the one that says, I am here for you. So to use the stamps I'm going to add them to some acrylic blocks. So I'm using the largest peony, I'm going to use the largest leaf and the smallest leaf, and I'm going to use the little sentiment, where it is, and I'm going to add that to a block. So I need to make sure that that's straight, so I'm using the grid lines on the block or on your cutting mat to make sure that that's straight. So there's my stamps now ready to use. Now you're going to need some Versamark. Now when you buy this, that's the colour it is, but if you're messy like me, when you use it, that's the colour it ends up. But it makes no difference, it still stamps up just as well. So I'm also going to use some gold embossing powder, and this is Wow. So I've got my black card now ready for stamping, and I'm just going to dust it off with some anti-static powder. This just takes away all the moisture that could be on the card from your fingerprints. And don't worry about the powder being on there, it does dust off once you've finished. So I'm going to take my Versamark and my largest flower, and I'm going to stamp this onto the card. Now you may not be able to see it on camera, but I promise you it is there. I'm not masking anything off, I'm just adding in flowers and leaves where I need them till I'm happy with the result. So once you're happy with the card and the way you've stamped it up, you're going to just sprinkle it with some of the gold embossing powder. So you make sure that all the design is covered, and then once you tap that off, you have the pattern on your card. Now I'm going to use the Spectrum Noir, and I'm using some from the floral set and some from the nature set. So what I want to do is pick colours that will blend in nicely together. So I want a dark, a medium and a light. So I'm going to use these colours for my flowers, and then for my leaves I'm going to use a dark, a medium and a light, and those are for my leaves. So I'm using, let's have a look, number 30, number 32 and 36 from the florals, and I'm using 43, 57 and 60 from the nature one. So I'm going to start with the medium colour, the middle colour, 57 for the leaves, and I'm just going to put the green down just part of the way onto the leaf. I'm not coming right to the edge. Now at the moment it's a little difficult to see that colour, but don't worry, because once we get the paler colour in and the shadows, it will show. So I'm just doing this little collection of leaves here. So once I've got that middle colour in, I'm taking the lightest colour and I'm filling it right to the edges now with the paler colour. And I'm going to do that on all the dark pieces that I've just coloured. And then once I've done that, I'm going to take the darkest one and I'm coming down to the middle part of the leaf so that we can just add in some highlight along there. And now you can see the dark shadow on that leaf. Now you need to keep your nibs really, your pencil points really sharp so that you can get into that embossing, because you can hear where I'm up against the embossing. So I'm just going to finish off the last leaf. I'm putting in the middle colour as before, taking the palest colour and filling it to the edges. And then I'm taking the darkest colour to just come near the stem and just fill in the shadows on that leaf. So there's the leaves coloured in, and I'm now going to start with the flowers. So I'm now going on to the pink. So with the middle pink, which is number 30, I'm going to start down in the darkest part to the flower. And along the edges where the shadow would be. And I'm going to do the same for all these petals. So you need to look where the shadows would be. And I'll just show you now what happens with the next bit. I'm going to the palest colour, which is 36, and I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to blend right over the edges. So once I've done that, I can then go in with the darkest colour and add in the really deep shadows. And I'm going to do that on every petal and on both flowers until that is all finished. So to create the halo effect around the flower, I'm using just a pale coloured pencil, and I've just flattened the edge by rubbing it on a sanding block. So to get the halo effect, all I'm doing is just flicking outwards from each of the leaves, and I'm turning the card round to follow the shape of the leaf and the flowers as I go. It's very, very light. And I'm going to do that all the way around this image. Now once you've done that halo effect, if you wanted to, you can take a paper stump and you can just soften out the edges to that halo by just gently rubbing over the pencil and just blending it in. So I've got my finished panel. I've stamped and embossed my sentiment in the same gold as the flower. I've got my base card and I've just rounded off the corner there, but I've swapped out the other panel for a pink one, which will blend in with the flowers better. So I'm just going to stick that small panel down the side there, and then I'm adding some foam tape to the back of my coloured panel. and I'm just going to add this now to the card. And make sure it's nice and straight. And I'm just going to trim that bottom off there. And then once I've done that, I shall add some foam tape to the back of my sentiment, and I shall add that in along there. So there you have the finished card, and I'm really pleased with the way that the pencils have worked on the black card. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll pop along and visit the blog, which is Flowers, Ribbons and Pearls, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.